most of these are just about, hey, this is out there. So the dive in pieces of how that ties in, not necessarily. My experience typically on the Microsoft side is that you're doing it with your principles that provide your least your recommendations of what to do from a least privileged perspective, and go from there. But I'm not certain on this one.
Yeah, I wonder how they're going to address it going forward, right? Because it kind of sounds like they're, integrating it in a way into their platform that makes it really easy to use and consume and, have it do whatever you want it to do, right? So I wonder what the flip side of that is as to like how they're going to build in these different, security controls and whatnot. It'll be an interesting time.
It's got to know something about you, right? And it's got to be able to. Microsoft is doing a lot about the agents having all of their own identity and their own least privilege and providing visibility and governance. They released a product called Agent 365 that's around that. So that really looks at how to govern your agents, who owns them, because these things are treated like identities going forward, right? You're not an agent may live on beyond its creator, right? So I leave the company, I got 30 agents. Who's going to take them over? Who's going to manage them? Who's
Right.
responsible for these things? Because there still needs to be a human in the loop on those things. And what are they doing? Are they doing it the right way? Are they changing their outcome, right? And evolving, because we all know that happens too, right? Your prompt today is not the same prompt that you use tomorrow because something's changed in the large language model there. So
Right.
they're giving more visibility, not necessarily at some control. Those controls are still evolving, though, in my opinion.
Are you playing around with any of these, AI agents on your own time or at your company? Like,
Yeah.
what's your experience with them? Because I haven't touched it at all.
So the AI agents doing a lot within the Copilot space. They're evolving. I mean, we can get a lot higher accuracy. Microsoft's released a bunch of things called IQ out at Ignite. Like they have a workplace IQ, they have a fabric IQ, and they're all designed to provide more business context around it. Because, for example, right, if you're looking at data and an agent has access to data, what if there's two pieces of conflicting information there, right? Both of them might be right, but the agent now has to decide. Well, generally, the thing that would allow that decision to be made would be made by a human that has some sort of business context. And so they're building models around the data to say that the AI agent can talk to that says, here's the business context for you to decide how to make a choice here, right? Because typically that would be, I'll take finance for example. In organizations that have complex financial firms, someone in operations might have a different number than what we see over in the financial office. Both are true, but there's context differences in those. So which one's the right revenue number for the business? Well, it depends on who's asking and giving that right information back. So I think as we get there, we're starting to get more accuracy, at least from being able to use it in a business perspective. I'm sorry, it probably won't help you in your PhD side of things yet, but we're still certainly evolving on the business side.
Yeah, no, if it could help me on that side, trust me, like it would already be deployed and whatnot in my house, like for sure. I've 1 year left, so hopefully I can just make it.
There you go. So the other piece I saw at Ignite that I thought was really cool, super scary, was agentic robots and what they're doing in that space with these robots that can interact with the real world and not go through like extensive training. They're using, yeah,
'Cause
it
that's a
was
big
by.
thing right now is the training. The training is like pretty arduous to get the robots to act right.
Yeah, so there's this new. I attended this one session where it was one of the founders of the large robotics companies. I'm drawing a blank, General Robotics maybe, but they were showing their framework of how they're basically training these robots in very short periods of time now, and basically they can just tell it, "Hey, go." If it's a can sorting robot, right? They don't have to go train it to say, this is what a Coke can looks like. They can use a large language model for that. And so, it can differentiate things in the real world by using LLMs and shorten its time to get there. So they're showing all these future examples, right? Being able to go service, power generation facilities or dangerous areas and from ones that might cause harm to humans. The same side, all I could think about was robots are coming for wars and everything else, right? Like someone's going to have a little private army on the side that's easy to train. So that was probably the most eye-opening, and also feels like we're entering a new era when it comes to interacting with the human world, right? our world, not just on a computer screen, but really cool, but also could be really scary too.
Yeah, it's really cool, but it makes me hesitant because it's like, hey, there's a whole like movie series on this thing. Did you ever hear of Terminator? Like, it feels like kind of like we're building it. I don't know.
Yeah, take any of those movies, RoboCop or right,
Yeah,
Terminator. There's another one, little robot that was back in the '80s too. But those things all, it's really cool. I had a dream like as a kid growing up in the '80s. We used to get these thick magazines of catalogs from Surface Merchandise. And it was like something you could flip through, and like they had this robot butler in there, and like here I am, like 8 years old, thinking, how awesome would it be? I could call my robot butler and it could go bring me a microwave pizza or whatever from the kitchen. I wouldn't have to get up off the couch for it. But the reality is that somewhere in the future, that's probably going to be true. Not too far, but
right. Yeah,
hopefully
we're going
those
into
things
a
are all for
weird
good.
we're really going into a weird time in the world, and that like kind of goes back to like that bell curve that I was talking about, right? Like where okay, it levels out a little bit and then you have robots on top of it and now the robots are learning from the bell curve that just took place with AI. AI did
Mhm.
all this work. Now robots are going to take all that work and learn off of it and then amplify it again, right? Like that's probably like the general consensus of it all, keep the bubble going.
Keep it moving, and there's all these other things that are kind of I saw from coming off of AI, right? Like we have so much more interest in data security than 2 years ago. It's amazing to see organizations really trying to adopt data security and feeling how important it is for them to do so. Assuming that I secured it behind my NTFS permissions or whatever it was, right, isn't quite the same outcome that people are trust anymore. They want to see that automatic labeling. They want to see automatic applying on there of sensitivity labels. So that's one really positive area I think from a security perspective that AI has pushed forward. I think it's also forcing people to think about it from like a governance perspective, right? Security has an opportunity to get a foot in the room with decision makers, right? More so than they ever have. So this is a great time to point out where risks are to your business and being able to help influence some decisions around budget and get that visibility up there. I've talked to a number of customers where security used to be part of the IT budget, right? Where now this year change has happened. Security is its own budget. It's being kind of separated, and there's more visibility coming up to the board. So those are both really cool examples of the AI space pushing security initiatives going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. I've seen that a lot too with the data security. A lot of people are really concerned about it, right? Like I got on a phone call with a customer and they just had nothing going. They were heavily into Azure and they had no data security around anything really, right? And they're paying attention to it a whole lot more. They didn't think of anything of it before, and now they're kind of freaking out because they can't not use AI in their environment. They can't not use Copilot or a different LLM or whatever it might be.